Welcome to Trending Unpacked, where we explore the internet's most unexpected trends. Today, we're diving into something that sounds, well, utterly bizarre, but has somehow taken the internet by storm.
Swamp potatoes.
Yeah.
Is this some new, exotic vegetable discovery? A particularly muddy meme? What exactly are swamp potatoes, and how do they get everywhere online?
It's definitely a name that makes you stop and wonder, isn't it? That first picture in your head is probably quite far from the actual delicious reality. We're going to sort of peel back the layers on this trending term today. And you might be surprised, actually. It's a fascinating mix, really, of deep-rooted food tradition and just explosive digital virality. It's quite a journey, like from the bayou straight to your TikTok feed.
Okay. Let's get right into it then. Swamp potatoes.
When I first heard that phrase, I honestly pictured something, something literally dug out of a swamp, maybe like a weird cousin to a water lily. Or just a really muddy tuber. What is it, actually? Are we talking about a literal potato that grows in wetlands? Or is it a specific vegetable type or, I don't know, something else entirely? Because the name really does paint a picture.
Yeah, you're definitely not alone in thinking that. That's the common reaction, I think, picturing some kind of wild forage root. But the truth is, swamp potatoes isn't some new plant species, you know? And it's not a wild edible you'd actually go digging for in a marsh. It's actually a dish, a rustic, incredibly comforting Cajun dish. Just imagine, tender, slow-cooked potatoes, usually diced or maybe mashed up a bit coarsely. And they're simmered really gently with sautéed onions, plenty of butter, naturally, and this generous, really aromatic blend of Cajun spices. You know, think paprika, cayenne, garlic powder, onion powder, sometimes a bit of thyme or oregano, too. It's the kind of really soulful, hearty side dish. Warms you right up. Often served alongside, maybe, smoked sausage or fried fish or roasted chicken. It's just a great example of turning simple ingredients into something, well, pretty extraordinary.
Wow, okay, that's quite a revelation.
Mm.
So a delicious dish, not some botanical oddity. And honestly, the idea of those slow-cooked potatoes with all those amazing Cajun spices, that sounds infinitely better than something, dug out of the Everglades.
Yeah.
So this isn't just a recent thing someone cooked up online then. Where does it actually come from? Is it tied to a specific place or community?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this dish is far from a new internet fad. It's got deep cultural origins. It's especially popular all through Louisiana and various other parts of the American South, too. It's really a classic example of Cajun and Southern cooking, which, often really prioritizes flavor and heartiness over fussy techniques, just using readily available, humble ingredients to make these incredibly rich, satisfying meals. It kind of speaks to that whole food philosophy of resourcefulness,
Right.
making the most of what you've got. That's such a hallmark of the region's food culture. Loads of families have their own recipes passed down for generations.
It's fascinating, though, isn't it? Just the sheer power of that name, swamp potatoes. It grabs you immediately, even if it completely misleads you at first. It creates this almost mythical image.
Yeah.
And then the reality is this comforting rustic dish, which is kind of delightful. It really highlights how a memorable, slightly weird name can just catch on and spark that initial curiosity, especially for people outside that food culture.
Precisely. That inherent mystique is a huge part of its appeal. And probably why it's become such a thing online. The name is just sticky,
Yeah.
It gets people talking before they even know what it is.
Yeah.
And that kind of brings us right to how it jumped from being a regional thing to suddenly being all over the internet.
Right, which leads us to the big question. Why is this traditional regional dish suddenly trending now? What's the connection to online culture today? What pushed it from those local kitchens onto, well, everyone's feeds? Is it just food bloggers finding old recipes, or is there something else going on?
Yeah, this is really where the digital world kicks in, specifically platforms like TikTok and Instagram Reels. They've been the main drivers of this recent viral wave. We've just seen this huge surge in content featuring swamp potatoes. And the content often fits into a few, really captivating themes. There's the soulful home cooking stuff, right? Creators sharing family recipes, the stories behind them. Then there's the nostalgic Southern content, which seems to tap into this longing for simpler times. And maybe most interestingly, you even see it framed as survival meals or really humble Depression era kind of cooking.
Huh. So it's not just about the recipe itself. It's more the whole vibe around it, the storytelling, the visuals, the sounds, the personality of the creators, maybe.
Exactly. It's the whole package. And what really seemed to launch it into the viral stratosphere were these specific, really shareable bits, like phrases like swamp potatoes hit different. That started popping up everywhere, became a real catchphrase. And that came along with a wave of memes, often pretty funny ones, that just cemented its place in internet culture. So when you mix that compelling short video format with a name that sticks and a relatable soundbite, well, you get an algorithmic explosion. We saw this really clear, sustained spike in Google Trends searches for swamp potatoes, which is basically the internet going, wait, what is this? I need to know. That spike really showed that massive public curiosity. It moved from being this niche regional dish to something everyone recognized, even if they didn't totally get it.
It's actually incredible, isn't it? How social media just has this power to dig up and amplify these really niche cultural things. A dish that's been a staple in parts of the South for, who knows, generations, can suddenly become a global talking point, all thanks to a few catchy videos and a good phrase. It really shows that sort of decentralized, almost random power of virality, connecting people to unexpected bits of culture.
And it also shows how fast something can go from being like a regional secret to a universally known meme or idea. Often by the time it hits peak viral status, it's picked up all these new layers of meaning. Sometimes they're even a bit detached from where it started.
Right. So beyond just the food itself, I'm curious, has swamp potatoes started being used in other ways online, maybe metaphorically? With a name that evocative, it feels like it could be used for more than just, potatoes. Has it become a kind of shorthand for something?
Oh, it absolutely has. Yeah. Beyond being just a dish, swamp potatoes has definitely taken on this very humorous and relatable role as a metaphor. People often use it to describe something that looks maybe a bit, well, ugly but tasty.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Right. That dish that won't win any beauty contests, but it just delivers on pure comfort and flavor. It's also become a shorthand for like comfort food for when times are tough, or just a symbol of rugged, no-frills resilience. It kind of implies, look, this isn't fancy, but it gets the job done, and it's exactly what you need right now. It's really about finding satisfaction in the simple things.
That makes total sense. It's like saying, yeah, it doesn't look like much, but trust me, this is gold. This is the stuff that fuels you through. It taps into that universal need for simple, honest stuff.
Precisely. Now, it's also probably important to clear up some common mix-ups we see online, which I kind of ties into these other meanings. A lot of people, quite understandably, given the name, confuse swamp potatoes with swamp cabbage, or maybe other actual wild edibles you find in wetlands, like cattail roots or various kinds of foraged swamp plants. It's really crucial to understand that while those are real things, and they have their own uses in food sometimes, swamp potatoes specifically means the cooked dish, the prepared meal, not a wild plant you'd go dig up yourself. Making that distinction between a prepared dish and a wild edible is super important, both for just understanding the food and obviously for safety reasons too.
That's a really vital point, especially now with information spreading so fast online. The internet loves to mash things together, doesn't it? And a memorable, slightly quirky name like swamp potatoes just makes it perfect for both literal and figurative use, even if those uses sometimes wander pretty far from the original meaning. It's a dish, people, not a root you yank out of the mud. It really highlights that fine line between, like, pop culture trends and actual food heritage.
Exactly right. It's a cultural product made in a kitchen, not some botanical sample from the wild. And knowing that helps us appreciate its real place in Southern food.
Okay, so let's zoom out a little bit then. Why do you think we, as this sort of internet-connected society, get so fascinated by these odd-sounding foods or nostalgic words or these regional dishes that suddenly blow up? What's the bigger picture here that swamp potatoes might be showing us about our collective digital appetites?
Well, what's really interesting here, I think, is how swamp potatoes manages to tap into several wider, almost like primal internet fascinations. Firstly, there's definitely a trend we're seeing where TikTok food creators are kind of romanticizing rural, humble meals. There's this undeniable appeal to simplicity, right? To dishes that feel traditional and authentic, especially maybe as a contrast to all the super curated, often impossibly perfect food content you see elsewhere. It's maybe a kind of digital escapism, a longing for simpler times in our pretty complex world.
Yeah, like a return to basics.
Yeah.
A sort of digital detox from all the complicated stuff. Maybe rejecting that aspirational perfection we see so much online.
Right. It's about embracing relatable imperfection, maybe. And the name itself, like we talked about, it just inherently sparks massive curiosity and it has huge meme potential just because it sounds so evocative and, yeah, a little bit absurd. It's just naturally shareable. Beyond that, there's also been this general rise in interest in what you might call depression era or survival style cooking, whether that's because of genuine economic worries or just a fascination with resilience and resourcefulness. People seem drawn to the stories and the methods behind those kinds of humble make-do meals, and swamp potatoes just kind of hits all those notes perfectly.
It's like a perfect storm of things. A quirky, unforgettable name, a bit of authentic history or regional charm, and this connection to a simpler, maybe tougher way of life that somehow resonates right now.
Yeah, if you try to connect it to the bigger picture, swamp potatoes really pulls all those threads together. It taps into our fascination with weird sounding foods that make us curious, those nostalgic comfort dishes that remind us of maybe simpler times, and a good dose of regional pride that's now getting shared globally. It's like a digital window into food heritage, even if it's seen through the, often distorted but always engaging lens of online trends. It shows how these platforms can both celebrate and kind of transform cultural things.
What really strikes me is how these internet trends, even something that seems as simple as swamp potatoes, can actually tell us something about our collective search. Maybe for authenticity or connection, or just simple, earthy pleasures in this super fast-paced world. Perhaps swamp potatoes isn't just about a tasty, humble dish in the end, but it's also kind of a mirror, reflecting our own complex digital desires, like craving authenticity in a world full of filters, even as that authenticity itself gets packaged up into a trend. Stay curious. Coming up next on Trending Unpacked, we take a look at the legacy and internet tributes to Ozzy Osbourne following the trending news of his passing at 76.